This is an interview with Mr. Willie W. Eatman for the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute's Oral History Project. I'm Dr. Horace Huntley, I'm presently at the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. Today is April 30th, 1997.
But she didn't even brief me on any of the questions.
Yeah,
I mean,
let me just tell you. Mr. Eatman, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come and sit and talk with us today. Welcome to the Institute.
Thank you.
Let me just ask you, are your parents from Birmingham?
Actually, they're originally not from Birmingham.
Yeah.
They're from Greene County and Tuscaloosa and down in the southern part of Alabama.
Okay.
But they moved here in 1951.
Oh, I see. Okay. And what year were you born?
I was born in 1945, May 25th.
Okay. So you were born in Greene County or Tuscaloosa?
Well, Tuscaloosa.
In Tuscaloosa.
Right.
Oh, okay. And how many brothers and sisters do you have?
All together it was 5 of us.
Uh-huh.
But I'm the only one, everyone else deceased.
Right.
I had a twin brother to me, and I had 2 twin sisters.
Okay.
And I had an older sister, older than all of us. She died back in 72.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were the two of you the younger, or were you in the middle?
We was the next to the oldest.
Oh, okay.
No, I take that back. We was the youngest.
You were the youngest.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you had 2 sets of twins.
2 sets of twins in the family.
Yeah. Okay. That's very interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Now, your mother and father, how much schooling did they have?
Okay, my mom, she finished high school.
Uh-huh.
And my father, I don't even think he made it out of grade school.
Yeah. What kind of work did they do?
You mean earlier?
Yeah, when as you grew up here in Birmingham.
Okay, my father, he retired from the railroad.
Okay.
When I was of age. And my mom, she was a housewife.
Okay.
Earlier life, she told me that she worked in the field.
In Greene County.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Greene County, Tuscaloosa.
Do you remember anything about Tuscaloosa?
Just a small amount of I can remember working in the field once. I was a little kid, but actually I wasn't working. I was just playing more or less.
Right.
Picking cotton and had a long bag. I remember the long bag that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, I never did make no money, but I was just out there playing around with my mom.
Right.
Because my mom didn't have a sitter.
Mm-hmm. Now, your father, what did he do on the railroad?
He was one of these chain gang people that go around putting the tracks down.
Oh, okay.
Like sit the tracks,
Right.
knocking on the track and hitting on the
Right.
pins, knocking the tracks down.
Yeah.
He did that.
That's a heavy job.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
He got hurt, matter of fact.
Is that right? What community did you grow up in Birmingham?
Okay, I moved from Tuscaloosa, like I said before, to Smithfield.
Right.
And we stayed in Smithfield, I guess, a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, she wasn't for sure where she wanted to stay, and we moved to Southside.
Mm-hmm.
And we stayed on Southside, I guess, about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then, along with that, I was going to different schools. Like, I first got here, I went to Lincoln Elementary.
Is that where you started school at Lincoln?
Lincoln Elementary.
What, were you first grade?
Right.
Okay.
Right. And then my mom moved to Southside, and before I could finish the first grade, she moved to Cameron Lane.
Okay.
And I started, on Southside, and I started Cameron Lane for a minute. And then after that, I left Cameron Lane and moved back to Smithfield and started back to Lincoln.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever attend Hill?
Yes, I did. Okay, what happened on that, I think they set up zoning. At the time I was going to Lincoln, and when they set the zoning up, that mean I was zoned to go to University Hill.
Okay. So what do you remember about your elementary school days? Anything exciting happened?
Yeah, oh yeah, it was plenty that happened, but it's for to remember. In my younger days in elementary school, it was Weststone, Mr. Weststone Dr. Weststone was the principal at the time.
Was that at Lincoln or at Hill?
At Hill.
At Hill.
And we used to play around and get lessons, and we used to go on trips, field trips. We couldn't go no further than just the zoo, go out to the park or something like that, but we couldn't go any place else.
Did you ever go to Baldwin?
Yes, we went to Baldwin. Yeah, but we couldn't go up in it, you know, it was more or less, it was watching us like a hog. I mean, all policemen was around and thought we was gonna steal something, I guess.
Then you went on to Parker High School.
Right.
What was now Parker? You know, of course, very well noted school, and the biggest school in Birmingham at the time. What was it like being a student at Parker?
It was great being a student at Parker. I try to, if I could, tell all these kids now that there's no other high school better than Parker, you know, because Parker, they had a lot of academic things that you could do. You know, like I used to play golf. Matter of fact, Mr. Curry, he was boy.
You played golf at Parker?
Yes, we had well, actually it wasn't golf per se, golf, it's putting golf. And the boys advisor, Mr. Curry, he was over the part of the golf. And then we played baseball, football, basketball.
Did you play in those competitively?
Yes, I played basketball for a while, you know. And I wasn't good enough, and I was scratched from the list, you know. And I tried to sing a little, you know.
Everybody wanted to be Temptation.
Yeah, so that didn't work out for me, so I just hung around with everyone else.
Yeah. What was it like growing up in Smithfield?
It was something good, you know. We didn't have what we have now, as far as violence. Everyone there was togetherness. You know, you could leave your door open and go around the corner, go to the store and do whatever you want to do. You didn't have to worry about anyone entering into your estate, borrowing anything from you, or taking anything from you. It was different than what it is now. And if this world could turn back to that time, it'd be great.
What about in terms of racial?
It was
a strike.
Okay, during that time, I didn't have too much dealing with Caucasians or another. Right. But I got along with all of it. Anyone, purple, green, black, whatever, it didn't matter, you know, what color it was, but it's just the way they come on to me.
Yeah.
You know,
did you ever ride the buses?
Yes, I did. I was one of the type that when I get on the bus and they had the little segregated board there, color, you know, could not sit beyond this board. What I used to do, I used to get the board, when I get on the bus, get the board moved all just about a couple of seats from the front. And then I sit behind it. And one day the bus driver asked me, he said, you know you're not supposed to move that. I said, I don't see a sign and you can't move it. I said, I just moved it, make sure we had enough room, because I see people getting kind of crowded back here. He got kind of smart and put me off the bus.
Put you off the bus?
Yes. He asked me to get off the bus, and I don't want to cause more confusion. So I just went ahead, he stopped the bus, and I got off the bus and caught the next. You know, because it wasn't soon for it to come right behind.
Right. Did that just happen one time?
No, it happened several times.
Several times. So you would usually get on and move the board?
Move the board.
So
It was just me, I just moved the board, you know, because I see Caucasians, they get on there and they'll take the board and move down, and the man didn't say anything, the bus driver didn't say anything. So I get on the bus and I see we getting kind of crowded because we already had to sit in the rear. And I see we getting kind of crowded. And I just take the board, not meaning in the harm, but just take the board and move it up enough so we have enough room to stretch our legs and stuff like that.
Did any of the passengers ever say anything to you about moving them?
Right. They call me nigga, oh nigga, you need to sit down and stuff like that, you know. And I didn't say anything, but I just stick the board in the little holes where it's supposed to go and walk them back and sit down. He'll grab the board and bring it back. And I didn't go and get it and take care of it back up there. I just let them know.
Right. Did any of the black people in the back say anything to you about moving?
Yes, they. Well, son, you know, older people, you know, they had a frightening of things like that. You know, they would say, son, leave it alone, because you know how they are. You know, I said, well, I don't think we need to be crowded up like we are. I said, there's enough room for everyone here because they have a seat by themselves. That's fine. Instead of sitting three in the seat, and only carry for two.
Right.
You know, and I can take the board and move it up. You know.
Well, now, while you were at Parker, at high school, the demonstrations took place. How did you haven't gotten involved in the demonstrations?
Well, it didn't take much. Only thing I understood about it, because I was young, is that the blacks they needed the rights. I mean, Caucasians had a lot of rights. We needed some rights. We didn't have no kind of right. We couldn't walk the street. We couldn't talk. We couldn't really do anything. And I felt like we was just stuck. And when they started talking about demonstrating, they started talking about Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King. And I said, well, and it hit my mind. I said, well, this is something I think I'm very interested in. And I said, I think I'm going down to 16th Street Church and see what I need to do. And that's where that started.
Well, did you do that? Did you go to any of the mass meetings that were held at night?
Yes, I did. But my mom, she accompanied me alone because I was too young to go alone.
Right.
And she said, son, we don't need to be up here. That's all she always tell me. And I told her, my dear, I said, everything will be okay. I said, just hang in there. Everything will be fine. We had to walk. You know, we didn't have no.
You walked from Smithfield to the church.
Right. Because we didn't have no transportation. My father and my uncle and one had transportation, but they didn't want to get involved.
Right.
They don't want to get their car torn up or whatever. But other than that.
Yeah. How would you describe the mass meeting? What was it like?
Well, I would say, I mean, looking at it, I'm trying to visualize it now, is that we'd be in there sitting down, and when you first go into church, they want you to sign a document, sign your name, and date it. But that way, if anything was to occur or anything was to happen, they'd know that where you were. And so we signed it, and we go in there, we sit down, and they start talking and telling us, asking us, do we understand what are we going in, getting into? If you feel like it's going to harm you in any kind of way, they don't want you, to go into it. So I felt like, I said, I'm just coming up in life, and I need to make a way for my kid, if I ever have any kids. I said, this is the time for me to try and make a change.
So you, at that point, you knew that something was happening that could mean change for the wider society at the time.
Exactly. I feel like Alabama is the southernest, well, not the southernest, but it's down south farther than any parts of the United States I could think of, like New York or whatever. And I feel like if we start here, this will give you a foundation right here, because this is the deepest part of the South that they're talking about.
The heart of Dixon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I felt like if it started here, then the rest of the state or the United States would branch out. If all of this would branch out to them, and they say, well, they're doing good down there. They're breaking all that black and white thing up. It's like.
Now your mother was rather reluctant. Did she ever go back to any of the other meetings after she said it's not a place for her?
Well, she wanted to. But like I said before, once she, like she was a housewife.
Right.
And she had a lot to do and stuff like that. And I used to sneak out the house. I'd tell her I'm going to bed, and I'd go in my room, and I'd hear her snowing. And once I hear her snowing, I ease out the window, even though I know it was wrong. But once I get here to the church and I sign my name, therefore it covers me where I was if anything was to occur.
Right. Did either of your brothers or your sister get involved?
Well, my sister, she was the only one living at the time, because my other three, they had passed away.
Oh, I see.
But my sister, she was here, but she didn't want to get involved. She was afraid, because like female, that's a little different, I guess. I don't know, because I was just boy. I want to know what's going on, and I want to help in the kind of way I can. I mean, just help us, because I know there's something there for us. I know it. I felt it. Yeah. Really did.
Well, did you have friends, close friends and associates that were going down with you?
I had. Well, it was a guy that came out the neighborhood with me. His name was Cade. Matter of fact, I'll never forget it. Him and I, we grew up together, and we used to be together quite a bit. And I asked him, and the only time he really come to a meeting, I think, like, he didn't have anything else to do. He come to a meeting with me. And I told him, I said, go ahead and sign the register. He signed the register. He said in the meeting, but he didn't seem like he was very interested in it at the time.
Right. Well, when you went to school, were there discussions of what was happening downtown?
Yes, it was. As a matter of fact, they asked me several times what was going on. How is it? they be wanting to know because I guess they was taking on terms of doing it themselves. I told them, I said, well, it's fun. I just said fun, and maybe I said, well, maybe if I tell them it's fun, maybe they'll come on and to see. But anyway, like I said before, I was telling them that, and R.E. Johnson was the principal at the time at Parker, and he wouldn't. I went and asked him. I said, well, would it be okay for me to go out and demonstrate? He said, no, no, and he just kept saying, no, no, no. I asked him all the time, and so when the things started getting a little deeper up here, then I asked him again. I said, well, Mr. Johnson, would it be okay? Because I used to press Mr. Johnson clothes in tailoring. So I was in tailoring, and he used to bring his suits every day to me, and I used to press him because him and I meet him talk. And that's why I felt like I was come up and ask him, could I, leave? So he told me one day, after I had been asked him so many times, I said, would it be okay for me to leave and go demonstrate? He said, no, you cannot go. You cannot go. He regularly pointed at the door. He regularly said, no, you cannot go. I looked at him and smiled. He said, no, you cannot go. And I left out the door.
Is that right?
Sure did.
Alone? Were you by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
I left that day. I left by myself that day. And then the next day, I always come to school. And the next day I come to school, and I was telling some more kids. I said, well, listen, he's not going to say anything. Just come on. A group of us walked to the door. He was standing up at the door, just like this, hand on his hip. And he didn't say anything. He said, what y'all think y'all going? We said, we're going to demonstrate. He said, y'all can't go. And pointing at the door like that, man, we just eased him out the door.
Is that right?
Yeah, sure did.
Now, that was one of the days when a lot of students left Park.
Right.
And were you a part of that?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. Matter of fact, that day, it was something like a D-Day, everyone just felt like, and you felt like it was real tight that morning when you first got to school, and everyone was sitting down there. They couldn't get the lesson, they couldn't concentrate because they knowing what's going on downtown about these dogs biting people. This police had them firemen had put water on people and stuff like that, and a lot of them was afraid of going down there and getting hurt or getting killed or whatever. But a lot of them said, if they can do it, we can do it. We just need support. I tell them, I said, we just need support down there. Next thing I know, man, everybody started coming all out the windows and stuff. Every day.
Is that right?
Yeah, every day.
So what was it like when you got down to the church? What would happen at the church?
Okay, when we get to the church, the first thing they ask you to is register. Because your name needs to be on the register, and all. If you did go to jail or get hurt, then that way you can be accounted for. So now I tell the people that I was with to go ahead on assignment, and once we get inside the church, then they have a group of people over here for carrying signs, a group of people on the one side for marching, a group of people going to different parts of the city for different things. And so, like for instance, one day, they gave me a sign to go down to the city hall, me and another guy. They didn't want but two people. So I said, well, could you think you can help? I said, I'm sure. So we had to take a sign and put it up on our court and walk down like nothing's what's going on. Even though these policemen was sitting out in front of the city hall, and they kept on looking at us, and one of them asked, what y'all niggas think y'all doing? And we didn't say anything. We just kept on walking real slow in front of the building. And another actor said, they lost, them niggas don't know what's going on. So by the time we got about midway the steps, and I took out and started running, I grabbed my sign out. I thought they were gonna shoot me at first because they're ready for the gun. And I grabbed the sign out and I ran all through the city hall showing it, we shall overcome. We shall overcome.
Ran through City Hall?
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Showing the sign. They grabbed me, threw me down, and carried me back in the back and threw me in the cell, for a minute. And they said, well, he's underage. They couldn't hold me, so they used me out. Told me, nigga, you go home. You go home. I mean, go home. We catch you again, you gonna lock you up. Trying to, I turn around, walk right back down to the church, grab another sign.
What were the other there was another person.
Yeah, well, both of them.
He
The
was
same,
the same thing.
right.
And he was,
He didn't really run in the church, inside the city hall like that. He stayed on the step, started showing the sign. Actually, they got him too.
right.
Yeah, they let both of us go and
So then you left there and went back to the
back to the
church.
church, right.
What about demonstrations? Do you ever get involved in any demonstrations?
Well, what you mean, like
When they would leave from the church
in March?
in March?
Yeah. Exactly. Just like I said before, when you go down there to demonstrate or march or whatever, they want you to sign register.
Right.
And most of the time I did walk. Like we leave the church, we line up in front of the church, we walk down 6th Avenue, then we go down 19th Street, then we turn and come back down 4th Avenue. But we was always in a range of a square.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't go in that deep. We didn't really go that deep. We just went somewhere around where the black community was and was marching.
Right, yeah. Well, what was the first time that you were arrested? What was the circumstances of that?
Okay, what happened on the first time I was arrested, excuse me, was when we was walking. We was marching, in other words. We was marching and they kept on to go home. They were saying on their loudspeaker to go home because y'all niggas don't need to be out here and stuff like this and that. And so if you stay here in this line, we going to jail. We bringing buses around. We're going to put you on these buses. We're going to take you to jail. And we just kept on singing "We Shall Overcome" and different songs and stuff. And the next thing I knew, they had a bus, and parked the bus on the corner. And as we was marching around the carrier, they had us come on the bus, march around the bus. So we get on the bus, get on the truck or whatever they had. It looked like they had every city school bus in Birmingham. Yeah. So they got us on the bus and kept us on the south side. And that's where they put us in the county, whatever,
City jail.
City jail on the south side.
Mm-hmm.
And we go over there and just march us right in the cell. They didn't search us or nothing. They just, come on, direct us and everything. We just walk right in. That's when Dr. Martin Luther King and Big Gregory and Shelburne, a lot of us was all in there at that time. And it was some things happened that night that about Big Gregory. We was all sitting down talking. And one of the policemen said something out to one of us pertaining to niggas. He said, "I wish y'all niggas would hush down and be quiet so we can go to sleep up here." And Dick Gregory, by him being a comedian, he said something in the line of, "Well, go tell your mama," or something like that nature. It was just a joke, really. And an hour or two later, they came down to the cell and asked, who is Dick Gregory? And Dick Gregory said, "Oh, that's me." He was standing up on the table because he was telling jokes. And he got walked on off the table and he walked to the cell and they opened the cell door, they let him out. So we was down there all talking and stuff. A few minutes later, and just about an hour or two later, he brought him back down and one policeman had him on one side and one had him on the other side, drug him in there and just threw him on the floor. So we looked at him, he was bloody, his jaw was broke, everything. And they had to beat him. Yeah, they had beat him real bad. So they had to call paramedics. And the paramedics didn't even want to come and get him. Right. And so we had to get one of the church workers. I think got him in the car and took him over to Smithfield.
So he was beaten that night.
Right, he was beaten.
How long were you in jail?
Oh, let me see. At that time I was there for almost a week and a half. Yeah.
How many times were you arrested?
Twice.
What were treatments like, normal treatment for people that were in jail?
Well, they tried to give us some slop, which is food. They considered food, but I didn't eat it. So we had people to come, they let us out. In daytime, they let us out in the fence. So we can walk around the fence. And while we was out in the fence, and we had a lot of people, the black people, to come over and throw things over the fence for us to eat. And a lot of times if you didn't catch it, you could forget it because it get trampled. You know, they step on them and stuff like that. But we got what we could, and we survived off that.
Yeah.
And water.
So how were you released? Did someone, did
Okay,
your
we
mother
had-
come and get you? Your
No, no, they had, just like I was telling you earlier about signing the register. Okay, once you sign the register, they carried the register over there. And everyone's name was on the register from Washington. Somehow they had to say, let them go. You know, and so if they call your name, they were releasing you from the register. And if your name was not on the register, what they would do, they would call, if your family, if your mom or father or someone had a little land, then they can put their land up and get you out. Yeah. Well, other than that, though, you just have to end up paying some money.
Well, after your second arrest, and then you were out, did you go back to school at that point?
Yes.
How was the reception when you got back to school?
It was a greeting in a sense, you know, and the principal said, well, I told you all not doing it. Now, you know, we need to expel you all for this, you know. And I knew he wasn't going to expel us because he knew what we was doing. But anyhow, he did not expel us from school. He just talked to us. We had a big meeting in our auditorium. We sat down and talked about the situation. And he said that there's a lot of violence going on down there. And he was telling us we really shouldn't be down there because of the violence going on. You know, you might end up getting hurt. Your mom think you and your father think you're in school, and you're down there, and something happened to you, then I can't account for it. Which he was right in a sense, but still it stopped me from going down there because I felt like it was something gonna come out. Something good was gonna come out of it.
There were two big events after those demonstrations that took place that same year, and that was in August, the March on Washington, in September, the bombing of 16th Street Baptist Church. What do you remember about those?
Okay. Now, the Washington, since it, you know, it was so far, I was more or less concentrating on here. And then one Sunday morning, around 10:30, I can't recall the date, but it was on a Sunday. I was at home and I used to get up, get my number 2 tub or number 1 tub, whatever, the bigger tub, and take a bath. And I was in there taking a bath, and then all of a sudden, something rocked the house. Like an explosion. Women started falling out and everything. And I told my mom, I said, something ain't not right. She said, what do you think it is? I said, it sounds like a bomb. I said, I bet you any money is at 16th Street Baptist Church. I just threw my clothes on real quick, ran out the door, and it's coming up here, and I made as far as about right here, about along where I am now. Of course, Liberty, trying to make my parents again. Okay, Liberty Supermarket, we had Liberty Supermarket right here on Field. Right beside of Liberty, that's why I was walking up to the church. And some state troopers, there was 5 to a car. They pulled next to me and said, where you going, nigga? I said, I'm going home. Where you live? And I couldn't really think of anything. I said, I live in Smithfield. Smithfield not this way. You need to turn back around and go the other way. I think you need to go home. I just turned around, was walking real slow. All right, one of them jumped out the car and told me, I said, well, you're not moving fast enough. You need to move a little faster. And send me. So I'm walking my normal step. Next thing I know, they trailed me about 2 blocks. Next thing when I look around, it's gone. I turn around, tried it again. I said, no, I just hold on to that. Go again, next time. So I left, and I never could get up there to the church, but after I got home, or listened to the radio, I found out these girls, had been killed. It hurt. It really hurt. And I cried for 2 days. My mom, she said, well, thank God you wasn't. I said, well, it would have been okay for happening. You know. And I can't remember, was it before or after when they bombed the motel?
That was before the girls were bombed.
Yeah, okay, well, I was up here that night.
You were here?
I ran up here to the motel when they blew the motel up that night. And I was just so frustrated about it. And I mean, people that got bricks and stuff, they was angry that night. I mean, they just got bricks and started hitting the policemen. Policemen come up there, the traffic lights started acting up, and he was directing the traffic or whatever. Then all of a sudden, a big brick hit him upside the head. He jumped back in his car and took off. That's when they started burning these cabs and burning these business, and oh man, it was horrifying.
Yeah.
It was horrifying.
Tough evening. Do you remember any of the movement people attempting to stop the people that were burning?
Yeah, well, you know, like, as a matter of fact, the guy was throwing the rock to hit the police. I told him there's no cause for that. I said, there's no cause for that. I said, you can't bring anybody back. You know, these people here in the room know how many killed, you know how many hurt. We just need to get in here and try to help them. Oh, no. But as far as the movement people, they wasn't even involved that night. Matter of fact, they didn't even show up that night. I think they come out the next day.
They may have been out. I think
Out
there
there.
some pictures of wide walk officials trying to get people to settle down.
Okay. He might have been in front of the motel.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, were you involved in any of the activity after the demonstrations, after the 16th Street Baptist Church?
No, I didn't get involved mainly because I was in school. You know, like I wanted to go and get an education. You know,
Right. Yeah.
And when I got out of school, my mom, she didn't want to take time out to bring me
Right.
back and forth.
What did you do after school? After you finished high school?
After I finished high school, I got married, and then I went in the military. Then
Where did you go to the army?
Army, yeah. I
And
went to the Army, and
what was that like? Leaving Birmingham, you know, most segregated big city in the country, going
Yeah.
to the military.
military, and well, I went to Vietnam. You know, I stayed in the military 1 year, 11 months, and 21 days. And the whole time I was in the military, that's why I spent most of my time in Vietnam.
Oh.
Right. So it wasn't a good scene, you know. It wasn't nothing like what happened here. It was a little bit worse. But now, as far as the people's getting along with each other over there, we didn't have time to go through that.
Right.
You know, either you're a man. That's why I looked at it. You're a man, black or white, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We just need some help. Let's get out here on the line. You know, but I prayed to the Lord that I'll make it back from over there, because you talking about hell, that was hell.
You were in combat?
Yes, it was. I was in, matter of fact, I was stationed at a place called Doctor, Kantun, Anke, places like that. People who've been in the military, they know what I'm talking about, you know.
Sure.
And, but I was in transportation, and I was traveling from one section of Vietnam to another. And we was getting blown away every day.
Yeah. You a driver?
Yes.
What did you do when you returned?
Okay, when I got back, I went back to my job. Oh, before I left, I had a job working for Merrill Electric. It's an electrical company.
Right.
And when I got back, you know, that's automatic. You can go back to the job you originally had before you left,
Right.
because they had to keep it open for you.
Yeah.
So I went back to them and started working there with them, continuous. And I guess the time in the military, they let that count too. So I guess I was there 9 years later, after I got back. And I was promoted to be a salesman. I started off as a truck driver.
Right.
And then I was a warehouse manager. And then from a warehouse manager, I started selling. This actually, he appointed me to sell. He said, "How would you like to become a salesman?" I said, "If you want me to." Because I was the type of person, I wouldn't want to volunteer for something I couldn't uphold.
Right.
You know, and so I said, "Well, now, if you want me to become a salesman, it's all really good with me." I said, "Well, I'm going to do whatever my job would require me." So he did. He let me become a salesman. And after becoming a salesman, I guess I started selling for about 9 years, pretty close to 9 years. And this Caucasian worked with me. He was the type of guy, I get along with a lot of people. And he was the type of guy, he said, "Willie," he said, "I know you're not making the money I'm making." And I said, "What you mean?" He said, "I know you're not making the money I'm making." I said, "I don't understand that." He said, "Well, let me show you something." He showed me his check stub. He said, "This is my check stub." I said, no, you was on, no, I like that. I said, man, no. I said, no, man, no, I like that. He said, well, I'm gonna give you 3 of them. So I took those 3 check stubs, carried them to Equal Opportunity, EEOC.
Mm-hmm.
And I filed a discrimination charges against the company. Yeah. And I won it.
You won.
Yes.
What was the result of your win?
Okay, why did it turn out?
Yeah. Did
Okay.
they pay you back pay?
Yes, they gave me back pay. They asked me, did I want my job back? But the president, he paid me additional for me not to come back because he knew that it was going to be the same thing if it was
So they paid you more not to come back.
Right.
You were, when you filed EEOC, did they fire you?
Yes, they fired.
They fired you
Right.
when you filed.
But they fired me. I filed a charge first.
Right.
Then they fired me later.
Okay. Why did they fire you?
They said that what was the excuse was? They said that me being absent, not being to work on time. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Not coming to work on time. But I was there for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I had to come in and open up sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And he said I come in late. You know, I said, well, could you show me on the card? Because I got a time card.
Yeah.
And I kept copies. See, each time my card get filled up from Monday through Friday, I had to have the secretary to run me a copy
Mm-hmm.
and give me a copy of my time card. As a matter of fact, I still have them at home. Right. And so that way I know that was a lie.
So you were dealing with the president of the company?
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's the only way I talk straight from the
Who was the president?
That was Leonard Weil, Weil. He was a Jew.
Yeah.
But see now, but by him being the president, he like for me and the vice president, which he was a Caucasian, to be there.
Hmm.
And more or less, the vice president was doing a lot of conversation with me than he was.
Mm-hmm.
Because soon after I filed my lawsuit, he in turns turned around and sold the company to him, to the Caucasian.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He said he didn't want no part of this.
Who was that he sold it to?
Charles Collect. Yeah.
And but you never did go back to work for
No,
them?
I did not.
Mm-hmm.
I left there and went to Nolan, and they also sell electrical parts. And they had me in charge of all of the electrical outlet things that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked them when I first went there, I told them about the situation at Mary Electric. And they said, well, there's no problem here.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that here, you know. He said, we're gonna pay you the same we pay everyone else, regardless of what your job is. And so I didn't have that problem there.
Mm-hmm.
So after I got there, and I had been there for about almost a year, and then they was just getting into the electrical,
Right.
trying to sell an electrical competitor to Mary Electric,
Mm-hmm.
which I told them, I said, you got a long ways to go. I said, I'm helping you much as I can. And so they sent me to Tennessee to run inventory on one of the other stores they had purchased.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go down to Tennessee and stay a week down there and have inventory. Only black down there in a little small town.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting.
Yeah. Well, do you have any experiences down there?
Well, yes, because when I got there, I drove down there. And when I got to the motel, it was late because the time I left here.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was, I got there and I asked the lady at the desk, I said, I supposed to have a reservation. She said, what's your name? I said, Willie Eatman. She said, let me look. She looked through her register and she said, I don't see one. I said, well, I'm sure you're supposed to have it because Nolan have set reservation for me to come here so I can do inventory on the buildings that they had purchased.
Yeah.
So she looked again. She said, oh, no, I don't have it on by that name. I said, that's one of the names that they're going to put it on. And she looked again. She said, no. I said, well, I might have called. I went and got on the phone outside, called on this one, and told my wife to give me the name of the guy and the phone number because I had left it. She gave it to me. I called him. He said, yeah. He said, I called him. Because after I had talked to him, he said, well, I'm going to call him. So he called. he called up there and female lady, she said, oh yeah, you was supposed to have been John. I said, John? My name is no John. So I didn't worry about it, so anyway, I went ahead and did the inventory, but this is the funny part about it. Like I told you before, I hadn't seen no more blacks around there.
Right.
And it was a little small town, I can't recall the name of it. But anyway, during the time, that morning when I got up, when I had breakfast at this small restaurant at the motel, and after I had my breakfast, and the guy that had the company was talking to me. He said, well, come on, let me go and show you the building and stuff. Give you the keys. You got the keys. We went into the building, got into the building, opened the building up. He was just showing, okay, this is you. He said, we're going to do the inventory. He said, and he also said for me to get 8 to 10 guys to help you, whatever. I said, okay. And all 10 of them was white.
Is that right?
That's right.
You're the only one.
Only black. But I didn't have a problem with them doing, because all I wanted them to do is count.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about, inventory. Count and tell me what it is and mark it on the card, whatever. I didn't have a problem with it.
It worked well for you.
No, I don't. I think eventually if I had stayed there more than a week, it would have been.
Mm-hmm. How long did you work for that company?
I worked for Nolan almost a year.
Right.
So I left there because they was going out of business here. As far as my electrical part,
Right.
they was going out of business. So I said, well, this is me trying to do the plumbing. I don't know about the plumbing, southern plumbing. So I left there and went to VA hospital. I said, I'm just getting out of working for an individual, period.
Right.
So I went for the
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us? We've covered a lot of territory.
Yeah, we have. Well, I'm trying to think of some of the things that over the past. I really can't. Oh well, I can tell you this is that when I left VA hospital, I stayed over there for about 2 years, maybe 3 or something like that, and I worked for them. And working for the government, I found out it's a little different, and I kind of like it because they have what you call a union. And they stand behind you pretty strong. And when I started the post office, when I put in application in the postal service, that's why I work employed now. And I went to the post office, then they asked the question, why was I arrested? And I told them, I said, well, I was demonstrating. And they said, demonstrate? I said, yes. Back in the 60s, I demonstrated for my rights. He said, well, you know, they don't really hire people that have been to jail, you know. I told him, I said, well, in my term, I said, I don't consider me going to jail.
Yeah.
I said, I did it for my rights. I said, now, is that a problem? That's why I was talking. And this guy, he was the postmaster over Birmingham. And he the one interviewed me.
Right.
And I told him, I said, I don't have a problem with it. I said, but now, if you feel like there's going to be a problem with me coming here, gonna bring up some of the things, I said, I don't think we need that. He looked at me real strange, like he said, I don't think there's gonna be no problem. He said, when can you start? I said, well, I have to get my other job 2 weeks notice. He said, you got the job. And you know why he said I had a job? Because you know, the average person go up there on most of these jobs, instead of them telling them, the people that interviewed them, when could they start, instead of them telling them in 2 weeks, or a month, whatever, I can start tomorrow.
Right.
And just imagine if I leave this company one day,
Right.
I'm gonna start, what this thing, what they gonna do for
Yeah,
them?
but the same thing.
You see what I'm saying? And that's why we trying to tell a lot of these black kids, today, when you go and apply for a job, I tell them, I said, now you have to lie a little bit. I said, sometimes, but most of you tell the truth.
Yeah.
That's because right now, when you go and apply on a job, so the first thing they will ask you, what kind of experience do you have?
Yeah.
And I told my son, I'm gonna cut it short. I told my son, I said, listen, when you go to apply for a job, I said, they ask you, do you have any experience? You tell them yes. He said, Dad, why should I tell them yes? I said, well, one thing, they got to train you. They're gonna train you whatever you need to do. And then he said, well, how am I gonna tell them, who am I gonna tell them I worked at? I said, well, just tell them what anyone comparing a competitor with them. Just tell them you used to work there 5 years ago. it's 5 years. Look at that, you know. I said, well, let's tell them 5 years ago. I said, now you lying a little bit. I said, well, let's just remember, you keep this on your shirt. I said, because they're going to have to train you anyway. They're not going to let you out there on your own.
Well, Mr. Eaton, I want to thank you for taking time out.
I want to thank you too.
Okay.
I enjoy myself very much. And anytime you need.
Good.
Okay.